Well, Sikh Holy Book tells you basically how to have a meaningful life from birth to death.
So, who can attend the Gurdwara agreement?
Well, actually, any person can come and attend Gurdwara. It is open to person of every faith, every religion, irrespective of caste, creed, or color.
And how can you identify Gurdwara from outside? Is it like a churches looks in a certain way? How the Gurdwara look from outside?
Well, each Gurdwara should have what we call Nishan Sahib. There is a flag outside which has this symbol of Sikhism called Khanda. As you might have noticed when you came in, and I did point out that there is a flag, and normally like church, which is the top, and on top of the building. It's the highest, probably it's supposed to be the highest in the city. Although having said that, in these days the buildings are so tall that probably isn't practical. But I think, having said that, you will see the Nishan Sahib or that flag representing, which people can see from far and wide, that there is a flag, and that is indicates that there is a Gurdwara, similar to the one that if the church is there, there's a cross top, people can see it. So it is a sign of invitation that there is a Gurdwara.
When can you attend the Gurdwara? Is it particular days, particular times, or is it open all the?
Gurdwaras are open more or less 24/7, basically. But I think depending, having said that, small Gurdwaras in small cities, like for example Cardiff, although it's a big city, but it's not that big in terms of Sikh population as such. So there are 4 Gurdwaras. So there are obviously, depending on the people's commitments, they're open on the weekends. And then, of course, to suit the public on other occasions. But bigger Gurdwaras, like in England, in Southall or Birmingham, they are 24 hours, they're open, and there, of course, all the services are open 24/7.
Okay, so what are you allowed to do in a Gurdwara and you're not allowed to do? Or certain things that you're not allowed to do in Gurdwara?
Well, in Gurdwara, you can do all the religious functions which are associated with the spirituality and the divinity, and of course the part of knowledge. It is also a community hub where the people can come and, of course, do their little celebrations like birthdays, and of course people when they have their last rites performed, of course, in that sort of way they can come in and heal and bereave and all that sort of thing. What really is that each Gurdwara more or less have a community center with it. And community center is for the public, for the worshippers, and of course for that community. So obviously any community projects, for example, ladies' clubs you can call it, so long as they want to have a spiritual get-together and read the hymns, or perhaps have some sort of discussion on, for example, on medical issues. For example, people suffering from mental illness, and they want to discuss and have a chat, because most of the communities have this specialist knowledge available in there, people of all professions, and they are able to help and advise on those. So for those every type of activity in a human life which you can have, these services are available, and they can, in small groups, come and take the advantage of that.
When people come to the Gurdwara, they have to take their shoes off, and the men and women have to cover their hair. What's the reason behind covering the hair?
If you do these precautions, take your shoes off, clean your hands, cover your head, you are mentally and spiritually ready to face the truth. and confess to the Guru whatever you have to do it or whatever you've done wrong. And if you're not prepared and you simply come out of the general ground and put your foot there or something, I think you're not mentally ready to have this. So I think it's important that those things are necessary for that.
What teaching can be found in the Sikh Holy Book?
Well, Sikh Holy Book tells you basically how to have a meaningful life from birth to death. You have to believe in one God. It tells you that Creator is the Father and we are all His children, so we are all equal in all respects. It tells you the truth, but higher still is truthful living. We have to live truthfully. And it tells you that you got to be content with what you got. You should not feel jealous by seeing the other people. You should respect. You should concern with yourself what you got. We're all different. We have all different IQs and so forth. And of course, that you have to read the hymns, think about them, and bring them in your practice. And I think all these good things in life which are it tell you that.
Why is equality so important in Sikhism?
Very important indeed. When Guru Nanak was born in 1469, 90% of the population were either Hindus or Muslims. Hindus was controlled by the Brahmins and Muslims by the Qazis. They often do the prayers in a language which was foreign to the common man. Common man didn't have idea what they were saying. They were paid by the common man and they made their living at the expense of the poor. The poor were exploited. And Guru Nanak came up when he said that is not right. Equality of all people, we are all equal. You are not rich. Further, if I may say as well, that the poor were not entitled to read that language. If they listened to the sermon in their language, at that time, their hands were cut, their eyes was taken out. It was that sort of atrocities was committed. So Guru Nanak said, no, it is not your prerogative to do that. People are all equal. They are entitled to read that. Their God is one. Everybody should be able to worship it. So that is where the equality, that's what I said when Guru Nanak with the body, mind, and soul went into meditation, came up with the two things. One was the conception of God, Ek Onkar. There's only but one God. And second, equality. Equality among all people.
Can women read from the Holy Book as well as men during the service?
Absolutely. Women are equal in all respects. Actually, it was the Guru Nanak who actually raised the issue of equality, because at that time, the women was treated by both religions, which was in the Asia subcontinent. In Muslims, they were as the third-class citizen, and again, in the Hindu religions, they were also, when their husband died, the woman was supposed to die as well with him by jumping into the fire. But Guru Nanak said that, why is that? This is not right. Woman is the one who has given birth to kings and queens. She should be worshipped.
Why are Sikhs often referred to as warriors?
Well, Sikhs, I think that's a long history of Sikhs, because Sikhs actually took on board, for my answers to previous questions, the fight for justice. Justice for women, justice for ordinary people, justice for common people against the establishment at the time. And for that reason, they have to shed their blood. This obviously was not accepted by the establishment. They wanted to arrest them, punish them, either to change their religion from that path, following Guru Nanak, and become one of them, or give their life. And they chose to give their life for that, but didn't want to change the path they were on that.
What rituals are important for Sikhs during their lives?
I wouldn't call them rituals. I think they're that you have to be, when you're born, you got to be blessed by taking the blessings of the Holy Book. And obviously, I think we are ordained that as soon as the woman is fit enough, she should bring her child with her and bow to the Holy Book and take a hukum, the order from the book, so that the child can be named. And that is, of course, is one thing. Then, of course, it can be baptism. If somebody wants to become a formal Sikh, he has to take the Amrit, what we call Khande Di Paul, and that is Amrit is administered in bigger Gurdwaras or by ceremony specially conducted that purpose. So he's brought into the Sikh faith, where you might have heard that he has to be the person wearing 5 Ks and not to cut his beard and all that sort of thing. And that is the baptism. Then, of course, you have wedding ceremonies. If you are a Sikh and follow Guru Nanak, you have to get the wedding done in the religious wedding in the Gurdwaras itself, where, of course, those hymns are read, and, of course, you go through. And again, of course, the cremation and the final stages of your life, you take consolation coming to the Holy Book and bereave and take hukam order from the Guru of that by reading the hymns. Your attention is diverted from the bereavement, and of course that it's God's will. You have to accept that. So these are the sort of ceremonies which you do basically.
Okay. How has your Gurdwara adapted to COVID-19?
Well, I think we adopted very well indeed. Is that, of course, nobody could say that it's very good, but I think we like to go to normal life and have the people and community come back and have the social interaction and enjoy the life which it was, because that is the most important thing, where people talk each other and you have their views. But having said that, the situation in COVID-19 is that you can't unfortunately do that, but we taken the steps that we didn't like to deprive our worshippers or our community of the teachings of the gurus, and we done the virtual broadcast on YouTube from the Gurdwara, right, continuing from March onwards when it was allowed. Luckily, the broadcasting was allowed, so we managed to do that. So it is displayed on the YouTube live stream every Sunday, and any other ceremony which we do. And the volunteers obviously are good enough to perform those services. So in that sense, it didn't affect in terms of worship, but it did affect in terms of the people, worshippers who are elderly and, of course, had a lot of faith, religious, for their mental satisfaction, that they are not able to come and pay their obeisance to the scriptures. So I think that, of course, unfortunately, there is no solution until they start coming back to the Gurdwara. So hopefully, let's hope it doesn't stay very longer and they are better to come back. And because the longer you leave it, I think the mental things and dementia and all that sort of thing, it triggers off people because they're not able to worship and pray their God. So I think let's hope that it covers. But in the meantime, we're doing best what we can.
Thank you.
Thank you. Most welcome. Let's introduce to you to the Sikh Gurdwara Cardiff. This is the way we come into. This is our main entrance to the Gurdwara. Gurdwara, where we, of course, give the knowledge to dispel the darkness and for the worshippers of Sikhs to come and pray. So here we go in. COVID-19, we have the sanitation and other stuff and face masks. For people who don't have it, they can use them. So this is the lobby area, the first lobby area. The worshippers who come in actually have to come here. They have to take their shoes off. The men on this side, the women on this side, which for easier, they take their shoes off. They sanitize their hands or wash their hands, and then they will be going upstairs. But before that, I may well introduce you here. This is our dining hall, you can call it. That's where the langar is served. And that, of course, is the fundamental requirement in Sikh Gurdwara, that every person who comes in here have to have a meal, a drink, and so forth. This is the sign of equality, that people, rich, poor, small or large, they must sit in one go and have the same meal. This is our kitchen, which is where we prepare the food. The langar is prepared here. All the preparations and the food is made by volunteers. women and men, and of course the youngsters, they prepare the meal, and then of course it will be served into the dining room on the other side. Okay, so this is the community center room which we built. I'll come back to it when we see the upstairs, when it was built and how it was built. So this is where the small community functions we do. Small portion here, sort of cafeteria or something where we feed the to the people who gather here. Again, their events are done free of charge. Nobody is being charged for anything. They are most welcome to come here. These are the stuff which you see, the bags of rice and flour. These were for the COVID-19. When there was a lockdown, we used to supply free to the homeless and other people and the National Health Service. So these are things there. So this is goes to the prayer room, which we go upstairs. As you can see at the first sign on the left, which is there, that's called Khanda. This is our signia for the Sikh nation, which whosoever is Sikh and baptized, and this is our signia of representing the Sikhism. Basically, you will see sign in the Gurdwara, normally in the front of every Gurdwara, where there's a flag, and the flag should have a picture of this Khanda on that, which signify that that is a Sikh Gurdwara. So this is renowned insignia. So let's go upstairs and introduce, to show you the prayer room. This is our school, which we call the Punjabi school, where we teach the children. We have about 50 to 60 children learn Punjabi in this Gurdwara. And we also teach music and other things to the students. We had a grant, about £300,000 from them. And by the total expense, we spent about £1 million, which the Sikh worshippers here put from them. And by making this building, which is really useful. And of course, we are grateful for the Welsh government as well for this assistance. Is since then given us the facilities of a community center and of course the Punjabi school, which is serving its purpose. Mind you, the Punjabi school is absolutely funded by the Gurdwara. We don't have any grants, we don't have anything, and our students take the exams here, basically, again, funded by the Gurdwara, so which is a great achievement. This is our little room for the bride's room, that is for the weddings, when we have the weddings, and of course, the bride himself needs some privacy in this room where they can sit privately and until the ceremony is ready. And then, of course, they can go in the prayer room. We got the lift as well for the elderly and other people, which they can come as well. Let's go upstairs to the prayer room, where we actually, the people coming in and pray. Gurdwara, we call it. So this is our main prayer room, where, of course, that sermon of Guru Nanak and the others is given to the Sangat. This is, you can see the musical instruments, where we call it Ragi Jathas. They are obviously in a group of 3 people. One is the drummer, one is the harmonium, one is the tabla player, and they sing the hymns. All the hymns from the Guru Granth Sahib are sung in here. Nothing else is allowed. And that is where the knowledge is departed. In Shri Guru Granth Sahib, which we call our holy book, it is a compilation of 32 saints and Sufis, which includes the Muslims, which includes the Hindus, which includes the people from other religions, those who have a similar view on humanity and universality. Their teachings are in the Guru Granth Sahib. So for us, there's no religion which isn't reflected in Guru Granth Sahib. It's actually a universal term for all people, for all nations to come and worship it. Whether we call ourselves totally different and divide, that's a matter for us to actually look into it. But as far as the Gurus and the Holy Scriptures are concerned, there's no difference between all. We're all same. Karta Purakh Nirbhau